Testing sound on Facebook. Testing sound on YouTube. All right, we got a good connection this time. So we're going to go with the update here in just one quick moment with the latest on Ida. Just give us here just a few more moments as we get some more people to join. Excellent. All right. Thank you so much for joining. And welcome back once again. My name is Kevin Gilmore at the National Weather Service New Orleans Baton Rouge office located in Slidell, Louisiana. We're going to go ahead and get started here with the latest on Ida. Everything you need to know about the latest updates we just came across from the National Hurricane Center at 7 o'clock Central Time. The latest, what we call intermediate advisory or advisories in between the main package advisories, which come out around 4 o'clock Central and 4 o'clock a.m. and p.m. Central and 10 o'clock a.m. p.m. Central. So those are our main packages. And we now have the new intermediate out here. So we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a quick moment. Just going to kind of go over and make sure that looks like we got a really good stream this time. And apologize, we had some technical difficulties a little bit earlier, but this time we're going to make sure we get through this complete and all the way through. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here with the latest that we have on Ida. And I'm going to go ahead and just show straight the new 7 o'clock advisory. Make sure I got that already up and ready to go, and I do. So let's go ahead and switch over. This is it. This is the latest track from the National Hurricane Center as of 7 o'clock Central Time. We notice that the winds have stayed the same. We're still at 105 miles per hour. However, the pressure has dropped. The pressure has now gone down to 969 millibars, which is a very good indication. I mean, we're getting some pressure drops in the center. We got an airplane out there right now that's actually going through and sampling the storm really well, and we're finding out that the storm is very strong, and it's continuing to strengthen, which is exactly what we thought. It's exactly what we thought we would expect from the system at this point in time. It's not that far away from continuing to strengthen into a major hurricane. The next track you see there is going to be later tonight and early tomorrow. It's going to be a major hurricane status. That's Category 3 or higher, going to be coming up towards, again, as it continues up towards the south, towards the northwest, and increase to impact portions of southeast Louisiana. So again, that's the latest position. There is going to be just around the north central Gulf of Mexico. See if we can get the storm to show here. I was going to actually do a little drawing there. There we go. There's the latest position of the storm. It's going to continue its track up towards the northwest, making landfall during Sunday afternoon and continuing its path up towards the north and then eventually towards the northeast. And as a reminder, the storm's impacts we're talking about for our local area, and we'll get a little bit more into that in just a quick moment. But we're going to be talking about specifically Southeast Louisiana, which is the office that we cover here. But there's going to be impacts further north as well. Central Mississippi, Memphis, Nashville, just north of the Birmingham area. There could be some isolated tornadoes on the east side you may have to watch for. Maybe some heavy rain or flash flooding issues as well, extending well inland. So we'll cover all that here in just a quick moment. But I wanted to really show you the most important thing here is the update from the National Hurricane Center. Winds have stayed the same from the maximum sustained winds of 105. Pressure has dropped, which is an indication that the storm continues to strengthen. Even though the winds are the same, the storm is still strengthening. So we're going to go show you here right quick the latest satellite imagery as the sun is setting on Hurricane Ida. Kind of an eerie shot, to be completely honest. Here, this is a view of the Gulf of Mexico. You got southeast Louisiana. Let's see, I'll go ahead and draw on here. I'm going to kind of draw the state map a little bit here. This is southeast Louisiana here. So this is going to be the area that we're pretty much covering and we're going to be talking about, but we've got a very classic looking swirl there. It's kind of, like I said, near sight looking at visible satellite imagery, and the sun is setting on it. So taking a little bit of a closer look on the storm as the sun is setting again. We don't have really much of an eye anymore, and that's going to happen. The storm's it's in the process of strengthening and organizing. I still think we'll probably have pretty much a well-pronounced eye eventually out of this at some point as the storm continues to strengthen. Due to the fact that strengthening is continuing, it just makes kind of meteorological sense that it would kind of try and do this. So The storm will continue off towards the northwest overnight tonight. We're still expecting it's going to kind of keep tracking off, and the track is still looking something similar to this. So we have had a little bit of adjustments too, and I want to go back and mention that again, going back to the track again. And this has been going around on social media, and a lot of people have been talking about this. So the track did actually slightly jog east, and that's important to mention in this case. That's not a point that I want to go without ignoring. That does mean that the impacts have shifted slightly east as well. So this is a major hurricane, and we always say don't pay attention to the center of the cone in this aspect because, of course, impacts will be felt way outside of the cone. It is very much worthy of note that we do have tropical storm warnings going all the way across Mississippi and Alabama, where we have surge potential all the way over to that region. They could have almost 3-foot inundation in that area. There'll be high surf all across the Florida coast. It's going to be a big storm for the entire northern Gulf Coast, pretty much from Texas, Louisiana border east. So keep that in mind that the track did shift slightly east. And the big question, we've got a lot of questions coming across. Will this continue? Will it keep continuing east? It's hard to say. I mean, looking at some of the computer model guidance, it's possible it may continue to wobble a little bit, but impacts will not change that much. Don't expect there to be dramatic changes. Nothing's changing from our main message of the potential of life-threatening and significant impacts for the area. That's what you need to know. That's just what you need to know. If you see it move up, the center of the storm moving 20 miles, that's not going to make that much of a difference. There's still going to be significant impacts to the area. So keep that in the back of your mind. We'll go back to the satellite here because I wanted to also show infrared satellite imagery, just showing you the storm. Very symmetric looking, great upper level outflow. Sorry, I'm going to kind of weather nerd out here a little bit, but great upper level outflow. We get some convection bubbling around the center of the storm near the eye. That's a very good indication that this is a healthy hurricane and will continue to become even more organized. So very large wind field associated with the storm as well. And it is continuing to, like I said, continue off towards the northwest, where we'll continue to see the storm get even stronger with time. So that's where we're currently at. Again, I'll kind of draw on here just in case my crude drawing of the southeastern United States, in case you can't see it in this type of imagery. I'm pretty much tracing here, so I'm not doing that by memory. But there's the southeast United States. This is in the Gulf of Mexico. So this is the north-central Gulf of Mexico where the storm is expected to continue up towards the northwest. So still a very dangerous situation that we're going to be continuing to monitor. So we're going to go ahead and take it back here. And we did these with previous Facebook Lives. And with this one that's running so smoothly, and I'm so happy that it's running smoothly right now, is we're going to talk about things a little bit more in depth and have more of a discussion going on here. Because this is probably going to be the last real good Facebook Live of the night before we'll do some more tomorrow. But since this is the day of major preparations, I want people to be most aware of what to do. So as we again continue with this briefing, I want to say that I've shown this to you before. This is, can you find where you live on a map? And I will keep showing this. I'm not going to keep showing this because I think this is an extremely important message. And I know it's boring to a lot of people, but this is something we need to remember to emphasize, that know where you are on a map, because I'm about to show you a lot of graphics that have that you need to know where you are on these graphs. I can't go around and tell you specific point location forecast. It's just not going to happen. I will be here for more than an hour or two trying to talk about every small city, probably for all night. I will be here talking about small city forecast. Your job is to find your location and figure and find out what risk is for your area. So we're going to go ahead and go through with that. Talking about as well, we've been talking about for a while now that there's 122 offices across across the United States, that is, and we're one of them that covers Southeast Louisiana and Southern Mississippi. That's Southwest 4 counties of Mississippi, and the coastal and near coastal counties of coastal Mississippi, or Southeast Mississippi, and Southeast Louisiana. So that's the area that we produce forecasts for, issue warnings for, advisory statements, watches. We focus on that area. If there's impacts to the west or north or east, other offices cover those areas. To our west, that's National Weather Service Lake Charles, Jackson, Mississippi to our north, and Mobile, Alabama to our east. Mobile covers cities like Pensacola, Fort Walton, Evergreen. We got Jackson up to our north, and then we got Lake Charles as well. So if you happen to be watching us from those offices and want local information for your specific area, please follow these offices where they will be posting frequent updates about the storm, especially storm-specific information that's been going on, and you'll be able to go to their website and find out more information about the forecast that pertains to your local area. So jumping ahead again, I just showed you the track, and I'll end up showing that a lot more through this briefing here. But here's the latest hurricane and tropical storm warnings that are in effect. No major changes in this update, no changes at all, as we still have hurricane warnings in effect for all of southern and southeastern Louisiana. Tropical storm warnings are in effect for coastal Mississippi and southwest Mississippi. You're going to be a little bit further away from the center of the storm or from the highest wind impacts to see those hurricane sustained wind gusts or sustained winds. However, you can't rule out some isolated wind gusts as well nearing hurricane strength, especially in some of the heavier bands. So we'll talk more a little bit about that coming up here. So what we're talking about when we're discussing these high winds, first of all, I want to talk about the difference between a watch and a warning. Really, I showed this earlier, but I think we got the picture now. A warning means it's on its way. It's coming in within the next 36 hours. And in this case, it's going to be here probably a lot less than the next 24 hours. Probably the next 12 hours, we'll start to see conditions deteriorating, which I believe, yeah, here's the forecast wind threat with Ida. Now, as I was trying to discuss with the 5 o'clock update earlier, there were some changes with this that needs to be addressed. And there has been more of a shrinking down of that area where we see those reds and purples. Those reds and purples are significant to extreme values. We're talking about hurricane force winds, sustained potential is going to be in that red to purple color. It gets even more extreme when you see purple. That's 110 miles per hour plus potential there. So, and I hate to say the word potential because we're not even using that anymore. If you notice, if you see the verbiage on this graphic, we're saying the words will. The storm is so close. The model guidance is head on this thing. We will not see any significant changes to the forecast. If anything, we're seeing higher confidence coming from the forecast. So because of that, we're getting more certain where we're going to see those high winds. And that's why you saw it shrink down a little bit. So anywhere you see in the red and purples, expect widespread long duration power outages. So widespread tree damage, long duration power outages, road closures due to trees down. This includes Metro Baton Rouge, Thibodaux, Gonzales. This gets very close to areas. It pretty much does include Metro New Orleans. This does include Metro New Orleans. Expect power outages all the way down to Plaquemines Parish, where there are already mandatory evacuations in effect for a very large amount of parishes across the coast. And we'll get more about the evacuation in a second. But if you are under a mandatory evacuation, you should not be there right now at all. Get out right now. We're making this wording extremely serious for a reason. So as we're talking about earlier before, I don't want to name out, again, find your location on the map. That's why it was extremely important to find out where you are on a map. You should know the shape and your location of your county and parish. You should know your vicinity to these other cities that you're looking at. And that should be the plan of action you need to take. If you're under involuntary, make the right decision here. Just based out of the situation, based out of whatever situation you're in. If you need to go, go. In this case, if you're on the line or on the edge of any of these brighter colors that I'm showing you, and you're on the fence, just do it. It's better to be safe than sorry. This is just, I hear him to tell you right now, it's just better to be safe than sorry. Just go ahead and roll out. Now, as far as the yellow colors there, the yellows represent tropical storm force winds. We see that we're talking about higher end tropical storm force winds for Covington, Slidell, getting up to Macomb and Woodville, and over towards New Roads as well. So that's higher level tropical storm force winds. What we're talking about there is we're talking about higher end, 54 to 73 mile per hour winds, sustained potential. So that's where we're going to be talking about there. We could still see isolated areas of higher gusts. It's very possible for us to see some gusts, especially in heavier rain bands. Now, talking about the lighter yellow color or just the plain yellow color there, we're talking about more like 39 to 73 mile per hour wind gusts. That's the lower end tropical storm force winds, but still can be impactful. That's going to be across the rest of the Mississippi coast. That's including Biloxi, Gulfport, Pascagoula. You're going to be talking about winds of 30 to 40, maybe up to 50 miles per hour. So be aware of that. We definitely have that one bullseye we're going to be watching very closely. And again, act now. Complete preparations before the winds become hazardous. You should have been pretty much by now. Everyone hopefully is in their place where they need to be, because tonight we just hunker down, and then tomorrow we roll with the storm, and things are going to get progressively worse. And by tomorrow morning, everyone will hopefully 100% be hunkered down so we can get through the storm. This is why we said that preparation should be completed today. And now that it's evening, hopefully everyone's got their plan in place and everything's ready to go. We're still going to see conditions begin to deteriorate starting late tonight around midnight for coastal Plaquemines Parish, going downhill as it spreads further north. We're talking about after midnight Sunday, the daybreak Sunday morning for Houma, New Orleans, and Gulfport, getting up to Slidell 2. And then daybreak Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon, further up to the north, Baton Rouge, Macomb. You may have a quiet morning. It'll start off in the daybreak. It'll be breezy, but it'll get gusty through the day. We're going to have these bands of rain, like these outside, there's called feeder bands, rotating around the storm as it approaches. We'll get fast-moving, southeast to northwest moving bands starting off the morning, and it could be gustier in some of these heavier rain bands early in the morning. So it'll be raining in spots tomorrow morning from these bands, and keep an eye out for them. There could be some locally stronger wind gusts in these bands too. So steadily decreasing conditions, deteriorating conditions, likely 100% sure going to be happening on Sunday. Experimental, this is the storm surge graphics. No major changes. We're still calling. We had that change earlier at 4 o'clock for Lake Pontchartrain. 5 to 8 feet. It will be occurring in Lake Pontchartrain to 4 to 6 in Lake Maurepas. 7 to 11 mouth of the Mississippi River to Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Beyond Ocean Springs, Mississippi, 4 to 7 feet down to the Mississippi-Alabama border. Still 2 to 4 feet for Mobile Bay. That's a significant impact for there as well. Dauphin Island, Gulf Shores, Fort Morgan, Orange Beach. It goes all the way to the Alabama-Florida border, but there'll be high surf all across the panhandle of Florida. So for people along the Gulf Coast, there will be impacted beaches even further off to the east. But of course, the main impact there is going to be, as you see, Southeast Louisiana, 10 to 15 feet. Morgan City, Louisiana, to the mouth of the Mississippi River. That's why there's mandatory evacuations. You cannot go through a storm like that. You have to evacuate in that case, and that's why the mandatory evacuation orders have come out. Vermilion Bay, 6 to 9 feet. Further east, we're talking Lake Charles, 1 to 3 feet. So steadily decreases off to the east, which is normal because when you think about a hurricane, the hurricane rotates counterclockwise, okay? Counterclockwise. So when the storm is making landfall, we're expecting it to in southeast Louisiana. That's why the storm surge is so much higher to the east, is you got that south to north wind. And lower to the west because you have that north to south wind. So that's an offshore wind. You'll still get storm surge, but you won't get as much as you see on the east side of it. So that's kind of the background on why that is the reason why the forecast is what it is. But this is going to be a significant situation for storm surge. And this graphic here shows it quite well. This is the same key graphic that I was talking about with the high wind danger we're talking about. So purple, that's extreme. We're talking about greater than 9 feet above ground level. We also have extreme levels too, going all across the Mississippi coast, where we said that at 7 to 11 feet. We also have up to 6 feet inundation across Lake Pontchartrain over towards Pascagoula, and as well as going even to Lake Maurepas. So storm surge inundation, this is life-threatening, devastation, and catastrophic potential for damage here, or excuse me, for storm surge in these areas. And because of that, storm surge warnings remain into effect. Flash flood threat, also a very significant risk. We're talking about now, still, we have that high risk, actually, if those who know from the Weather Prediction Center that issues outlooks for excessive rainfall. We are under a high risk, but we believe this graphic pretty much depicts exactly that risk that we're saying. That purple area is a high risk of excessive rainfall. And because of that, I want to show you in a quick little drawing, and I'm trying to explain a little bit better of what I'm talking about with this flooding rain risk, and I'm going to kind of get into the heavy rain potential too. But here, let me go ahead and jump over to the rainfall potential, where I'm going to talk a little bit more about it and why we have this bullseye here of higher rain. So I'm going to kind of follow along with me my drawing. As the storm's going to be coming up through this area. Of course, I'm not directly on the path. I'm just drawing here. And the storm's going to be continuing up this way. We're going to get these bands forming off onto the east side of the storm. So when the storm is eventually over at some of this point, it's going to be coming in, weakening near Baton Rouge as a Category 1 hurricane based on the latest National Hurricane Center forecast. We're going to get these bands coming off on the storm, okay? So as the storm's going to be coming north, these bands are going to be following with the storm just like this. And you see that as the storm continues up, these bands aren't moving, because the storm's moving basically north by this point. What happens is you get this training of bands across southeast Louisiana. Training right now, are the better potential, the more likely potential of extreme rainfall is basically following the I-55 corridor. Macomb, that means you. Independence, Hammond, going down to St. Charles, St. John Parish, all the way down to Lafourche. So that's kind of, we're getting a little bit now with higher confidence. We're able to narrow that corridor down a little bit better. Can this move a little bit east and west? Of course. It just depends on where this band sets up. But since we're getting confident on the track of the storm coming up generally in this general direction, we're going to get these bands that as the storm continues up will continue just basically to remain stationary over the same area as it continues north. Training rain here. And as we were saying before in other updates, we know if you're from southeast Louisiana, we can't handle heavy rain in a short amount of time. We can't handle this type of rain in a short amount of time ever. This will prompt flash flooding. This will prompt flash flood warnings. And because of that, we are under a flash flood watch, under the likelihood of devastating flash flooding to set up in some portion of the area. Now, if you go back here, see, I think that may be everything we have. Whoops, let's see. I'll go back to the slideshow here. There's the flash flood watch, like I just discussed, and the QPF, the rainfall forecast I was just discussing. Now with the forecast tornado threat as well, we're under, it's a limited risk. That's because we have the potential for a few isolated weak tornadoes. And tropical systems, we still get vertical wind shear. There's actually a lot of churning in the atmosphere aloft, right above your head, going up a well above your head. There's a lot of churning in the atmosphere. That vertical wind shear is what helps to cause tornadoes. So with plenty of moisture and instability to work with, we can get sometimes in that same bands I was just talking about, we can get little cells develop. And those cells with that strong amount of wind shear, we can actually get little weak tornadoes that form over water as water spouts and can come on shore as weak tornadoes. Now, even though, for example, talking about coastal Mississippi, and let me go ahead because I'm going to have to explain this one yet again here. But talking about for coastal Mississippi, even though you're further away, and I showed you earlier with the wind graphic that you're going to be expecting tropical storm force winds, maybe just minimal tropical storm force winds for Gulfport, Biloxi, and Pascagoula, we're still going to be seeing those bands that are propagating outside of the storm. So as a hurricane is going to be approaching from the southeast, we're going to get these rain bands approaching about like so. And in here, as the storm continues up towards the northwest, we're going to get them bands that are going to be propagating over this way as well. And these bands have the potential to have little bitty cells that are riding due north like that. Each one of these may require a tornado warning. Just one of those things. These are going to be weak, quick-lived tornadoes. There may be water spouts that come up on shore and cross onto the land. If you remember Tropical Storm Claudette, when it made landfall, we had a slew of tornado warnings across the coastline. Around, if I can recall correctly, I may be wrong here, but around 4 to 6 tornadoes were reported. I can't remember exactly, but all ranging from EF0 to EF1 in strength. And these were from tornadoes. A lot of these occurred from Bay St. Louis near Waveland across Gulfport. And they produced some damage. And even though the whole point here is, even though you're out in this region where you're only expecting maybe around 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, if you get one of these tornadoes that cross inland, you could get winds of over 100, 110 miles per hour possibly out of these. So that could be locally devastating as well. So the whole key point here, right there, ensure you have a reliable way to receive warnings should they become required. But a key point here is that you have to make sure tonight that if the reliable way for you to receive warnings is through a NOAA weather radio, make sure you have fresh batteries in it, because if you lose power, you're not going to wait a way to get those warnings. If your reliable way of getting warnings is through wireless emergency alert, charge your phone, have a portable charger, and everybody in this entire area that is looking from here, from southeast Louisiana and southern Mississippi, charge your phone overnight, just so that you have a good charge. In case you lose power, you'll have a good charge on your phone. So go ahead and do that and have a reliable way to receive these warnings. And again, we don't issue these warnings to annoy people. We do this to save your life. And that's our mission, the protection of life and property. So take these warnings very seriously. So I'll go ahead and jump back here, back to the image slideshow. Get a plan. We're getting kind of past this point by this point. I hate to say that. We're getting past this point. You should already have a kit. You should already have updated your kit. So everyone is good to go. You should have already planned for your pets, but if not, think about them. And also, as I kind of come back here, also think about the elderly. If you have people who are living in this area where we cover in southeast Louisiana and southern Mississippi, and you're from somewhere outside the area, give them a call. That was with the call to action that we had earlier at when we did our Facebook Live around 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon. Was your job is, if you live somewhere outside the region, give your friends and family a quick call. Make sure they're okay. Make sure they have a plan in place. If they had to evacuate, make sure they went somewhere. If they're close to the coast, make sure they're out of there. That would be the best thing you can do. Everyone's got a kit, which is fantastic. We'll get through this. There's going to be some widespread power outages with this, and again, we'll get through it. So I'm going to go back again to show you once again here. We'll see if we can get back, showing you the latest track that we have up. Well, it looks like I may have, nope, there we go. Latest track again, 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time track is showing that no change is significant to the wind speed, but the pressure is dropping. This is still a significant storm as we show you satellite imagery, and I'll show you even a close-up here now. Let's see. Whoops, don't want to show you cloud top phase. There we go. Infrared satellite imagery of the storm. There's the latest right there of Hurricane Ida. We're going to see the storm probably continue to tighten up tonight and continue to strengthen as it approaches southeast Louisiana. Conditions will be deteriorating as we continue through overnight tonight and especially into the day tomorrow. So that's pretty much it. Looks like the stream did fantastic, which is that's all I want. That's all I want is my message to get out. If you can hear me, that's the biggest thing. If you can't see me, I don't care. I just want you to hear me, and it looks like the stream did fine. We're just making sure everyone's going to be okay through this. This will be a life-threatening situation, and we take this seriously for a reason. It's an inconvenience. It's an inconvenience for everyone. We're aware of that. But this is nature. There's hurricanes. It happens. It's always happened before. There have been strong ones, weak ones. It's happened. Unfortunately, last year we had a lot of them, and it seems like we got to deal with another one this year. So it's hurricane season. It's pretty much coming up with peak climatological portion of hurricane season. This is not unheard of. We get hurricanes in hurricane season. So I'm going to actually, I don't normally do this because typically we have someone answering questions, but I'm going to actually thumb through some of the questions. And if people want to fall off, that's totally fine. You have all the information you need to know right now. But I'm going to now be attacking a little bit more information now. If there's maybe an impulse of questions, go ahead and ask them now. I'm about to fire them away on both Facebook and on YouTube. So go ahead and do that now. Like I say, I don't usually do this because I don't want to waste your time. I mean, everyone has things to do. They just a lot of people out there care about the weather. They want to know what's it going to do. I live in the city. Am I going to have this? Okay, thanks, bye. Because other people have lives that you have to get to. So I can't answer for every individual city, but I will try to address things that I see. So again, from people, and I have to mention as well, the NOAA Weather Radio, we posted this on Twitter. The NOAA Weather Radio for Baton Rouge is down. I can check real quick here if anything has changed from that. But as far as I know so far, it's down. And if it's down, you need to find an alternative source. So I can't tell you how to broadcast your NOAA Weather Radio because you're going to have to address the manual to your weather radio to how to change the channels. Usually just going through the channels, you'll find in the next one that is maybe, it won't be as clear if you're near the Baton Rouge area, but you'll find one nearby. So other frequencies or other towers that are near Baton Rouge is Lafayette and Morgan City. And I believe there's another one up to the northeast, and I'm not remember. There's one in southwest Mississippi as well. Just try the channels if you can. And I know there's a lot of people who rely on that weather radio, but we're working. We have electronic technicians that are working around the clock to get that fixed. And if it's still not fixed, it will be fixed. So don't worry about that. Going through the quick questions here again, real quick. See, we got some questions about coastal Mississippi. I'll kind of just like broad brush that again. Tropical storm force wind conditions anywhere from 30 to 50 miles per hour. The worst timing for coastal Mississippi is going to be a little bit later, Saturday, maybe Saturday afternoon through Sunday afternoon through Sunday night. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. Sunday afternoon through Sunday night. The morning won't be so bad, but you'll still get some rain bands that are going to be creeping up, and conditions will begin breezy across coastal Mississippi tomorrow morning, and then get worse through the rest of the afternoon. And then definitely by the evening and the overnight hours, just plan on being in. Don't go anywhere. Just let the storm pass. So going through the rest of the questions here, I kind of backtrack. Now I'm going to kind of come back forward. St. Bernard Parish got a question there. That's going to have some very significant impacts as well. If I remember correctly from the wind impact graph, you're pretty close to the hurricane force winds. and too close for comfort. So that's going to be prepare for hurricane force winds and power outages. Heavy rain, flash flooding, all going to be a risk for St. Bernard Parish. So all going to be a very serious situation there. Slidell, storm surge, you're under storm surge warning. It's funny, I just said I'm not going to be doing cities, but here I am doing it, but I don't care. Slidell, high winds, you're going to have strong tropical storm force winds, potential for hurricane gust. Now, every location I was talking about that is in that tropical storm area for tropical storm force winds, you still have the potential for hurricane force gusts, especially in those bands I was drawing out earlier. Watch for those. Those may have tornado warnings on them. And you may see, if you watch on radar, you may see little banding features on those. And those little bands have the potential to really produce some higher winds that are from around the pressure gradient winds that are surrounding it. So keep that in consideration too. If you have apps to watch the radar, watch for those bands. You may see these tornado polygons come up on them. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. So going up along here, St. Charles, St. James, you're going to get some very significant impacts there. We're talking, if I remember seeing correctly, that's extreme. Widespread power outages. You're going to get a very likelihood of widespread power outages there. Trees down. That's going to be blocking roads. So prepare for the impact to infrastructure and travel. You're not going to be able to get to where you need to go. Okay? This could be for a very long time. And we're talking Sunday through Monday morning. If you got somewhere to go Monday and you're in St. Charles and St. James Parish, travel could be difficult. Plan on it. If not impossible, plan on it. Okay? So surge, also going to be a problem. Flash flooding, all that's going to be a risk. Isolated tornadoes as well. For St. Charles and St. James, I did mention this before, but I did mention this about the hurricane coming inland towards Baton Rouge. The official forecast has a Category 1 landfall going through Baton Rouge. Just let that statement settle in for you if you're anywhere near Baton Rouge. You will be having a Category 1 hurricane. That's winds of 75 miles per hour sustained or greater. That's serious. 75 miles per hour is enough to knock trees down. That's enough for power line damage. If you think about this, we issue severe thunderstorm warnings for winds of 60 miles per hour or greater. So think about that. If you have a severe thunderstorm warning and we put a little polygon out for that, you could get, and we mentioned the potential for tree and power line damage from a severe thunderstorm warning. Think of the storm coming in and it's just a big severe thunderstorm warning in regards to winds. That's 75 miles per hour or greater in that case. So that's what we mean by widespread tree damage possible, power outages, potentially even structural damage that far inland too. So something to keep in mind. Looks like I'm catching up here. I'm talking more than I'm reading questions, but yeah, just kind of going ahead here. Ascension Parish, you're going to be in the bullseye. Terrebonne, Lafourche, Ascension, Assumption. I'll even say St. James, St. Charles. Going up further north, the east and west Baton Rouge, Iberville. If I named your parish, you're in the bullseye. That's going to be the worst conditions. You're going to get the highest winds out of that. We're saying the potential for 100 miles per hour plus in that region. So let me go back because I know I'm mentioning a lot of locations. I want to just make sure that I'm hitting this high wind threat correctly. Yeah. Iberville, West and East Baton Rouge, Livingston Parish, St. Charles, St. James, Jefferson, Lafourche, Terrebonne, Plaquemines. Those are the parishes. If you live in any of those parishes, you have the potential of seeing the most extreme conditions. And because of that, we may have the eye wall of the hurricane going over your location at some point. And the eye wall is the worst part of the storm. That's where we see the worst conditions. Of course, there's going to be bad conditions spreading all across it, but that's where we see typically the worst conditions from the storm. So let me go back and show you what I mean when I was talking about the zoom in here. The eye wall here, if I can see if I can stop it, is going to be around the eye. So as I draw this, here's the eye. I'm going to circle it. There's the eye that's trying to form. The eye wall is around the hurricane like this. It's a larger wind field of very high winds. So that's why we have that radius as it kind of comes up like this. That's the areas that we're talking about that's going to be in it, that's going to be seeing those winds. That's why we have that kind of that shape of the highest winds. It's going to kind of keep continuing up north like this. So as I go back and show you a little bit more why that's the region, it's because you may be actually going through the eye wall. And that's where we will be seeing some of that most extensive wind damage out of it. So if I named your parish earlier, you're going to be seeing the worst. And I added East and West Baton Rouge. Even though you're between it, don't worry about it. Really, I say anyone that's in the red and the purple. Don't worry about it. That's such a fine cutoff line. You don't need to be looking at fine cutoff lines in this type of situation. So, I go ahead and jump back here real quick. Go back to where we were with the questions. I got a little bit off topic there. Sorry about that. So going back here, Point Coupee. Even though you're a little bit further north and in some of that higher end tropical storm force winds, some of it near hurricane force, your biggest concern for Point Coupee is going to be damaging winds. Definitely some flash flooding risk as well, but damaging winds is probably going to be the most prominent risk. Isolated tornadoes, not so much because it's going to be near the center, near that eye wall, and well to the east. Isolated tornadoes is going to be more for southeast Louisiana. More so, it's kind of hard to show the exact area. There is a formal risk for Iberville Parish, but your risk is going to be very low. A lot higher for areas like New Orleans and Slidell and Covington and coastal Mississippi. So, damaging winds are going to be your biggest potential. Iberville Parish, prepare for power outages. You could be out of power for a while. So, that's a very good question. Any possibility that it will turn sooner, shift more east? Some of the model guides that we've been seeing, even some of the latest observations from the exact point of the storm that we've been seeing coming back, yes, it's been showing an eastward jog. I will go ahead and say this. There could be a little bit more jogging with it, but it's not going to really make that much of a difference. There's been a lot of people who are talking about, it's moved 20 miles, 30 miles. Okay, well, it's going to take a larger swing for there to be a big change in the forecast. And we're here telling you right now, there's not going to be a change in the forecast. It's going straight where it's going. So even if it moves 20, 30 miles each little update, say that I think right now the center of the storm's forecast to go near Grand Isle. Now it's going to be directly on Grand Isle. Well, what's the difference? Instead of you getting the right part of the eye wall, now you're getting the northern southern part of the eye wall. You're still getting the eye wall. You're still getting extensive wind damage. It doesn't matter where you're going. Of course, there's mandatory evacuations there, so thank goodness that shouldn't be life-threatening with wind, but there'll still be bad surge as well. So doesn't really matter much on that shift. Models, they're going to have their struggles, but I'm telling you right now, models are good, and there is a little bit more of an eastward bias to the storm. So be aware of that. It doesn't matter. We're still calling for significant impacts for New Orleans. We're still calling for significant impacts for Baton Rouge. If it moves 30 miles to the east, what's the next update? Significant impacts possible for Baton Rouge, significant impacts for New Orleans. That doesn't change. So don't pay too much attention to that center of that track. You're going to get impacts. It doesn't matter where you are in that area I was just showing you. So downtown New Orleans, Metairie, inside the risk reduction system, freshwater flooding could be a very big concern. What I mean by that, that's rainfall flooding. Not so much surge, but rainfall flooding. We know the city, it's sensitive to the heavier rainfall. So it shows you where the heavier rain band is. You could be having a serious flash flooding situation for New Orleans as well. So keep that in mind. Depending where that heavy band sets up, you may see it set up a little bit more towards the west, more towards the east. It just depends. There's a chance maybe it'll miss the city. That'll be fantastic, but the risk is there. So we want to let you know. So damaging winds, widespread power outages, flooding rain, and storm surge outside the risk reduction system is going to be your biggest risk across the New Orleans area. And of course, isolated tornadoes. That's definitely a real possibility as well. Same for New Orleans East. Really not that much of a difference. New Orleans East, same thing. I just said the exact same impacts, high winds, locally heavy rainfall, isolated tornadoes, and storm surge outside the risk reduction system. So just jumping through here, Harahan, same thing. Really, that whole area, I'm trying to broad brush instead of hit specific impacts because there's not going to be much of a change between Metairie and New Orleans East. We're talking minuscule changes there in such a large storm. So Folsom, going up to Washington, getting up towards Washington, northern St. Tammany, Franklinton, that area. That's going to be kind of the same that you're going to see for Abita Springs, Covington, Slidell. Strong tropical storm force winds 50 to 70 miles per hour, gusts of up to hurricane force possible, if not likely. If you get a band come through you, you're going to get higher winds. Isolated tornadoes is a risk as well. Flash flooding, a very significant risk. Of course, you're further inland, you don't have to worry about storm surge, but flash flooding, high winds, power outages, tree damage, and isolated tornadoes are going to be your main risk. That's Franklinton and Folsom. Any part. I just covered Covington and Abita Springs and Slidell. So for you, the conditions are going to get worse more towards the afternoon. They'll be deteriorating in the morning, but towards the afternoon, you'll notice it getting real breezy, real gusty, and towards mid to late afternoon, it's going to really pick up. We're going to get these rain bands heading north, And in those rain bands, we'll get some strong winds in it. So it'll keep cycling up. The winds will keep getting stronger. And then through the overnight hours, it's just hunker down because that's when the winds are going to be the strongest. So going across a couple more questions here. Again, about the whole jogging east thing. It's not going to jog. The whole thing here, here's where we're here to tell you. If it does jog, it's going to be just that, a jog. We're not going to see a forecast. You've seen how consistent it's been. We're not going to see the storm approaching and then it just changes. That's not how it works. That's why we're calling this a very confident forecast, a high confident forecast. It's not going to do that. I'm here to tell you. We know this. It's not going to do that. So, Metairie, Jefferson Parish, I hit you earlier. Mandeville, pretty much the same effects that I told you about earlier for Covington and Vita Springs, but Mandeville, you got the risk for storm surge. It's going to be a significant risk as well. Going back, let me jump back because I want to make sure I give you the correct information with the storm surge values. Whoops, let me go the right way here. For the storm surge values for Lake Pontchartrain, 5 to 8 feet. That's going to be inundation across the Mandeville Shorelines area. So that could creep inland too as well. So be aware of that. Storm surge along the coastline is going to be a very significant risk. Madisonville, Mandeville, Ponchatoula, Lake Maurepas, 4 to 6 feet. Storm surge, a real issue for the North Shore. Real issue. Isolated tornadoes, strong wind gusts, 50 to 70 miles per hour, possibly higher in stronger rain bands. I think I just said localized flooding and isolated tornadoes also all going to be your risk there. So that's a whole package deal for Mandeville. You got all the risk there that we're going to be expected. We're not expecting to see the worst of the storm in Mandeville. That's going to be more towards Baton Rouge, down towards Houma, Terrebonne, Thibodaux, down towards Grand Isle. That's where we're going to expect to see some devastating, catastrophic impacts. But still, we'll have enough impacts there for you to see disruption of life, power outages, travel difficulties, trees down, everything I was talking about earlier. It's going to be it's going to be an impact to the infrastructure system, the power infrastructure, traveling, anything. And there's going to be a very significant risk there. I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going here. I just want to make sure Bayou Liberty area, Slidell, storm surge, it's very significant risk. Gosh, I had the risk up here just a second ago. Sorry, let me just drop back here. There we go. 7 to 11 feet coming into Wrigley's, up towards the Pearl River Basin. Will be inundated on this one. And two, I want to go back too. I didn't even mention this, and this needs to be mentioned. This is extremely significant as well. River rises. We get flash flooding a lot down here. We get river rises. So there will be river rises. There's already flood warnings in effect for some areas, and it'll keep going. There will be significant impacts to rivers. They will be swelling from this. If you live in a flood-prone area near a river, hopefully you should have got out by now. It's going to be a significant risk for your area. We could hit some severe higher ends in some of these projected stages in the rivers here too. I don't have the exact values out here. I could probably get it for you here in a little bit. But if you go to our website and you go to our tab, in fact, I'll go ahead and do that now because I just feel like this is something that people need to know about here. Let me just jump to here and show you where I'm talking about. Actually, I'll show you my webpage here in just a second. I just want to make sure that I have everything set up for you. So like I said, it's going to be river rises are going to be a very serious situation, and seems like I don't have everything set up here like I thought I did. Let's see, no, unfortunately I do not. But again, I'll show you our website at least here, so you can actually find some of this information. Whoop, there we go. Weather.gov/New Orleans or LAX, which is the code name for our area that we cover. Here you'll get some of the latest information. You got the point and click forecast here, all kinds of hazardous weather outlook too. And then if you go down here to the latest, this will take you right here to the latest river stages. Good, this was the website I was trying to remember off the top of my head. But if you go up here to river forecast on this tab, and I'm going to actually right now copy and paste this into chat. If you live in sorry, you guys get to see it behind the scenes here of my streams. If you live in a area susceptible to river flooding, if you know your river, if you live near them, you should know them. We got a few major, some moderate forecasts. Go to the website I just posted, bookmark it. If you see impacts from rivers, refer to this website constantly in the next 24 to 48 hours, constantly, longer than that. 72 hours, constantly refer to this website, okay? You'll get the latest information that pertains to your area and what you should see in regards to impacts. So going back here to the main website, let me just back up here a little bit, showing you, hey, if you have a storm report, I get a little bit of a pitch here because I do Skyward Storm Spotter classes. Some people may have seen me before doing Skyward classes, and I've shown this a lot. If you go on our webpage, you go to the very bottom, submit storm report. This will take you to an anonymous Google form report where you can actually submit storm reports, and we get them here. So if you have damaged winds, damage anywhere, let us know. Tweet at us, send us a Facebook message, or shoot us a storm report. That would be fantastic, so we know exactly what's going on with the storm. So here's our website. There you get the latest information. If you click on a location, say I live in Hammond, I'm going to click right here. Boom, you got your local forecast, your current temperature, the current conditions from the latest observation nearby. See that we currently have winds east at 6 miles per hour, and what we need to know about. The latest hazards are highlighted. Everything you need to know for the next 7 days. This is why I don't want to go through and talk about every single location. These are your answers here. Tropical storm conditions expected. Hurricane conditions possible. There's your Sunday forecast. That's what I was just mentioning before. So let me go ahead and jump back here again because I don't want to lose track of the stream. Let's see. If you're not sure if you should go, follow local officials. Okay, I don't have every single location that is have a mandatory evacuation. I don't have all of them that has voluntary. Local news outlets has that. Media is passing that information along. We're trying to pass that along too, and pass along weather information too along with it. Follow official local sources for that. If you want to figure out if you should go or not, if you have a mandatory or voluntary, if you want to know about your area, please find that local information. And that they will be glad to readily give you that information as well. Follow local broadcast meteorologists. They are doing a fantastic job. They're doing a fantastic job helping us push the message out here. They're doing great. And we really thank them so much for their hard work through all of this. They're doing a fantastic job. Please follow them, all of them. I can't name them all. I don't want to list them all or anything. We're not competitors. We all do the same thing. We're getting the message out. We work together. We talk together. Our job is to get the message out to you. It's the job of the National Weather Service to do that for the protection of life and property. And we're going to do that. And they're going to do that as well. So jumping back here at some of the latest questions here. Looks like we're doing okay. I'm sorry if I've been looking at Facebook here a little bit. Let me see. Let me go back to the image slideshow to show you the surges here real quick. Been kind of ignoring YouTube. Sorry about that. I'm going to go back and look at your what everyone's been saying there. Looks like we got a lot of good conversation. That's good. Hopefully, some people can help each other out. If you know some information you want to pass that along, please pass it along. But make sure it's good information. Okay, we don't want to pass along false information. That's why you want to get your information from official sources. Looks like we've had a few questions here about the timing. How long? Okay, that's actually a good question there. How long will the winds last? That's not something I've actually made very clear. Let me go back to the. Let me just go back here and I'll explain to you with the storm coming up. Actually, no, I'm going to go back to the PC here and I'll actually show you the storm track here. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the track as I explain this here. So how long will they last? We know the onset, but a lot of people also want to know when's it going to end. I mean, that matters. Is this storm going to slow down? Is it going to be a long duration ordeal? Well, as you see there, we already been covering that the winds are going to be increasing tomorrow, more likely tomorrow late morning through the afternoon is when the very bad impacts will continue. But it'll keep going all night. Now, as the storm towards early Monday morning is going to be really impacting Baton Rouge and areas all to the east and around our entire southeast Louisiana area, by Monday afternoon, the system will be pulling away. Now, hopefully, as we typically do sometimes see when the storm is pulling away up towards the north, the storm has a tendency to pull in a little bit drier in the back end, and we get the storm to kind of form a comma head shape, or just like a comma shape to it. And usually that wants to kind of push some of this out of here a little bit earlier. That's not guaranteed, but sometimes that means we can kind of get the rain bands to pull away from the area. We can still have a flash flooding risk that follows along the side of the system as it continues up towards the north, but hopefully some of those higher winds will be then more, that's what we call gradient winds, will be located with the center of the storm by Monday afternoon through Monday evening and through early Tuesday, late Monday night to Tuesday morning. The center of the storm is going to be up towards Mississippi. It'll still be breezy. We'll still have west to east winds on the backside of the storm, but it will not be anything near as significantly impact. So we will see improving conditions during the day on Monday, especially Monday afternoon, Monday night, and into Monday evening into Monday night. So the highest winds will be from starting Sunday late morning through the afternoon, through evening, night, continuing all night, Sunday night and Monday morning, through Monday morning, improving as we get towards late morning into afternoon, especially Monday afternoon in the evening, and then Monday night. We should get most of this out of here. We may still have some lingering rain bands. By that point, the storm again will be kind of up in this portion of the area, and it'll kind of create, like I said, this kind of a calm ahead feature here. And we may have some training rain bands that kind of linger behind it. We have to watch for that. But as far as the gradient winds go, they'll be continuing off towards the north and towards the northeast. So looks like we're doing a good job here. I'm going 51 minutes. That's a good, I would say, 40 minutes longer than I wanted to. But in this case, I kind of did something a little bit different this time, because this is not a typical situation. This is a major situation when it comes to this major hurricane going on. Let me get back there. There we go. And I'm kind of going through some of the comments. I don't see anything that really stands out. I'm glad we've had some very good questions, and these questions help me, because my job's to message to you. If I'm just sitting here not saying the right thing, what good am I doing? Because this is what's going to be impacting you. So it looks like we're good. Looks like I covered most of it. I hope this was beneficial. I do this for a reason, because this is us right here. Whoops, wrong one. Right here, National Weather Service. Okay, it's our job for protection of life and property. This is what we do. This is what we will always do. We're open 24/7, and what I'm kind of like going through right now, we never sleep. And for the next few days, we're not going to sleep. That just comes with it. It's the name of the game. So everyone knows now. Hopefully, I've covered every point. We're going to go ahead and end it. We'll be doing a lot more Facebook Lives here coming up during the day tomorrow. We'll try and get away from these problems we had a little bit earlier today. That's why I made a promise to myself. I needed to do another one, and we did another one. I feel I'm glad that everyone is hearing this information. I want to share, and I want my information that I know, and I want people to be protected from this storm. That's our goal here. So we'll get through it. As I said before, the sun will shine on the back. The sun will come back. I promise. We'll get through this. I want, again, people to really take this seriously. Conditions will be deteriorating tomorrow. All plans should be done. All plans should be done. If not, rush to get them done right now. Do not do no preparations tomorrow. So we're going to go ahead and end it there. I appreciate you so much taking your time to go this far along. It's amazing. I got great viewers taking it this far along. Thank you so much for staying in and asking these questions. So anyways, we'll go ahead and end it. It's now coming up to 8 o'clock Central Time. Thank you again. I can't thank you enough for paying attention and to joining us, and we'll do some more of these tomorrow. So take care, be safe, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. So again, take care and see you later.